Hello, dear students. A warm welcome to this session on one of the most fascinating areas in the field of psychology and education, the study of creativity and its measurement. Creativity is often regarded as one of the most essential capacities of the human mind. It not only allows us to imagine possibilities beyond the ordinary, but also enables us to solve problems, innovate, and adapt in a world that is continuously evolving. In education, creativity is seen as the key to preparing learners for future challenges, while in professional life, it is associated with innovation, leadership, and growth. Yet, despite its importance, creativity for a long time was considered something elusive, difficult to define, and even harder to measure. It was often thought of as a gift possessed only by few extraordinary individuals. However, through the dedicated work of psychologists and educators, particularly Ellis Paul Torrance, creativity came to be recognized as a universal ability that could be systematically nurtured, studied, and assessed. This led to the development of Torrance's test of creative thinking, a set of carefully designed tasks that provide one of the most widely recognized frameworks for evaluating creative potential in people across different ages and cultural contexts. Creativity is a dynamic and multidimensional cognitive ability that lies at the very heart of human experience and development. It is not simply about producing something new, but about engaging in original, flexible, and imaginative ways of thinking that allow individuals to see beyond the obvious and generate possibilities that others might overlook. This ability is considered fundamental for innovation, problem solving, and for adapting to ever-changing demands of personal, academic, and professional life. In fact, in 21st century, where rapid technological progress, global interconnectedness, and complex social challenges dominate our existence, creativity has come to be regarded not as luxury but as necessity for survival and growth. Recognizing this, societies, educational systems, and organizations have increasingly emphasized the cultivation of creativity alongside traditional skills such as literacy and numeracy. However, with this emphasis has also come the pressing question of how creativity can be measured in a reliable and systematic way. Unlike knowledge-based abilities that can be tested through direct questions and answers, creativity is often abstract, fluid, and context dependent, making its assessment far more complex. To address this need, researchers and psychologists have worked extensively to develop tools that can capture the essence of creative thinking in ways that are both structured and meaningful. One of the most significant contributions in this regard is the Torrance tests of creative thinking, often abbreviated as TTCT. Developed in the early 1960s by Ellis Paul Torrance, a distinguished psychologist and educator widely recognized as the father of creativity. This test offers a comprehensive and empirically validated framework for assessing creative potential. Torrance designed the TTCT with the vision of going beyond rote measures of intelligence to capture the richness of divergent thinking, which is now acknowledged as one of the foundational processes underlying creativity. What makes the TTCT particularly valuable is its adaptability across diverse age groups, cultural contexts, and educational settings, allowing it to serve as a global benchmark in creativity assessment. The test incorporates both verbal and figural tasks that invite participants to generate multiple responses, ideas, or interpretations rather than focusing on a single correct answer, thereby providing insights into fluency, originality, elaboration, and flexibility. Key dimensions of divergent thinking. Because of its systematic approach, a wide applicability, the Torrance tests of creative thinking have become one of the most frequently used creativity assessments worldwide, influencing both research and practice in psychology and education. Now, coming to its historical background. The genesis of the Torrance test of creative thinking can be traced back to the educational and psychological climate of the 20th century, a time when scholars and practitioners began to recognize creativity as a vital aspect of human growth and achievement. Until then, the focus in education and psychology had largely been on intelligence, academic performance, and standardized measures of achievement, which were often regarded as the sole indicators of an individual's capacities and future success. Within this environment, Dr. Ellis Paul Torrance emerged as a pioneering voice who boldly questioned this narrow view, known widely as the father of creativity. Torrance dedicated his career to reshaping the understanding of human potential. He challenged the prevailing assumption that intelligence tests could fully capture an individual's worth, arguing instead that human beings are not merely passive recipients of knowledge, but active creators capable of generating new, valuable, and original ideas. For Torrance, creativity was not a rare gift limited to a select few, but a universal trait inherent in all individuals, one that could be nurtured, developed, and meaningfully assessed like other cognitive abilities. Driven by this conviction, Torrance set out to design an instrument that would provide a structured way of measuring creative potential, giving teachers, psychologists, and researchers a reliable method to identify and foster creativity in learners. His efforts culminated in the introduction of the Torrance test of creativity thinking in 1966, which marked a turning point in the scientific study of creativity. The TTCT was firmly grounded in the concept of divergent thinking, a psychological process that emphasizes the generation of multiple, varied, and original responses to open-ended problems. Unlike convergent thinking, which focuses on narrowing down to single correct solution, divergent thinking captures the richness of imagination, flexibility, and innovation that characterizes creative thought. Torrance recognized that true creativity often lies not in providing the right answer, but in envisioning possibilities that extend beyond conventional expectations. Over the years, Torrance refined and expanded the TTCT to improve its validity, applicability, and scoring procedures. The most widely adopted version, developed in 1990, offered a more comprehensive framework for evaluating creativity by incorporating detailed scoring rubrics that measured fluency, flexibility, originality, and elaboration with greater accuracy. This version not only enhanced the reliability of the test, but also allowed it to be used across a wide variety of educational and cultural contexts, further establishing its global significance. One of the Torrance's most remarkable contributions was his commitment to longitudinal research. He conducted extensive follow-up studies that tracked test takers for decades, providing invaluable insights into the long-term predictive power of the TT-CT. These studies revealed a striking pattern. Individuals who scored higher on the TT-CT were more likely to make meaningful and enduring contributions in the field as diverse as science, technology, literature, education, business, and the arts. Their achievements underscore Torrance's conviction that creativity is not just an abstract psychological trait but a tangible force that shapes human progress and innovation. This historical foundation elevates the Torrance test of creative thinking beyond the status of a mere assessment tool. They represent a legacy that continues to influence how creativity is understood, measured, and cultivated in both educational and professional settings. By reframing creativity as a measurable and essential aspect of human potential, Torrance laid the groundwork for modern approaches that see innovation and imagination as central to success in a rapidly changing world. Now coming to structure and components of the Torrance test. The Torrance test of creative thinking is divided into two main sections, verbal and figural, each designed to capture different dimensions of creative thought processes. Both sections are rooted in tasks that encourage open-ended, imaginative, and flexible thinking. Verbal TTCT. This component focuses on linguistic and ideational creativity. Participants engage in a series of writing or speaking tasks that prompt them to generate multiple responses to hypothetical or abstract stimuli. For example, in the asking questions task, individuals are shown a picture and asked to list as many questions as they can about it. This is not simply about curiosity, but also measures the fluency with which ideas are generated. In the guessing causes and consequences tasks, participants are presented with an event or scenario and asked to imagine possible causes or outcomes. Here, flexibility and originality come into play, as test takers must shift perspectives and go beyond answers. Then we have the product improvement task. It invites participants to suggest creative ways to enhance an ordinary product which reflects their ability to reimagine existing objects in more functional or imaginative ways. Finally, the unusual uses task, one of the most famous in creativity research. It requires individuals to list as many novel uses as possible for a common object, such as a brick or paperclip. The ability to look at a familiar object in a completely new light reflects divergent thinking at its core. These verbal activities together assesses four primary dimensions of creativity. Number 1, fluency. Number 2, flexibility. Number 3, originality. And then elaboration. Figural TTCT. This section emphasizes non-verbal, visual and spatial aspects of creativity through drawing-based exercises. It is especially useful for evaluating creativity in younger children or individuals from diverse linguistic backgrounds who might find verbal expression challenging. For instance, in the incomplete figures task, participants are given a partial or abstract shape and instructed to complete it into a meaningful picture. This encourages imagination and ability to see beyond the obvious. In the picture construction task, individuals use a given geometric shape such as a triangle or a circle to construct a larger image, incorporating the shape as a central element. This not only tests creativity but also reveals how constraints can foster imaginative solutions. In the repeated figures task, participants are provided with a series of repeated elements and asked to create different drawings from them, testing both originality and elaboration. This section evaluates not only fluency, originality and elaboration, but also abstractness of titles, which refers to the depth of conceptual thinking through the titles given to drawings, and resistance to premature closure, which reflects the ability to keep exploring beyond the most obvious solution and avoid jumping too quickly to conclusions. Then we have scoring and interpretation. The TTCT employs a multidimensional scoring system that provides both detailed insights and composite scores. The key criteria include fluency, or the total number of relevant responses or ideas generated, which indicates productivity and idea generation capacity. Originality is another core dimension and refers to the uniqueness or rarity of responses. Responses are compared against normative data to determine statistical originality. So, an idea that seems simple might be rare in larger population and therefore rated as original. Flexibility refers to the variety of ideas across different categories or perspectives. For example, if someone imagines multiple uses for a brick that include construction, art, gardening, and technology, this shows cognitive adaptability. Elaboration involves the amount of detail and development in the ideas. A student who not only suggests turning a brick into a doorstop but also describes how it can be painted, designed, and marketed shows a higher level of elaboration. Abstractness of titles in figural tasks reflects how deeply participants engage in symbolic or metaphorical thinking, while resistance to premature closure measures the ability to resist settling on the first idea and instead continue exploring alternative pathways. Scoring typically involves both quantitative and qualitative judgments. When trained raters evaluating the responses according to standardized criteria and norm reference data. Then we have reliability and validity. The TTCT has undergone extensive psychometric evaluation and is recognized for its high reliability and predictive validity. Multiple studies have supported its internal consistency and retest reliability, making it a dependable tool for both research and applied use. Torrance's longitudinal studies are especially noteworthy. His research followed participants for several decades, demonstrating that higher TTCT scores in childhood or adolescence significantly correlated with real-world creative achievements in adulthood, such as publishing books, receiving patents, and professional recognition in artistic or scientific fields. The test has also shown cross-cultural robustness. Although certain adaptations may be necessary for specific linguistic or cultural groups to ensure fairness. Now we have key terms. To better understand the Torrance test and the study of creativity, this is important to become familiar with some key terms. Number 1. Convergent thinking. A logical and structured thinking process that involves narrowing down multiple ideas to arrive at a single best solution. It complements divergent thinking in creative problem solving. Then we have ideational fluency, the ability to rapidly generate a large number of relevant ideas in response to a prompt. It is one of the key indicators of creative potential. Then TTCT. It's a standardized assessment developed by E. Paul Torrance to measure creative thinking abilities through structured verbal and figural tasks. Then we have fluency, the total number of relevant ideas produced by an individual in a given task. It reflects the productivity of idea generation. Next comes originality, the uniqueness or rarity of responses. Highly original ideas are statistically uncommon and demonstrate novel thinking. Next, flexibility, the variety and diversity of categories or perspectives reflected in a person's responses. It indicates cognitive adaptability. Now, let's see elaboration. The level of detail, depth, and development added to an idea. It shows how well an idea is expanded or refined. Then we have resistance to premature closure, the capacity to delay reaching immediate conclusions and explore multiple possibilities. It indicates openness in thought processes. Now comes abstractness of titles, a measure in the figural section that reflects conceptual thinking by evaluating the symbolic or metaphorical titles given to drawings. Then we have figural tasks, drawing-based exercises used in TTCT to assess non-verbal creativity, such as completing shapes or constructing visual images. Let's see applications of the Torrance test. The TTCT is utilized in a wide range of contexts. In educational settings, it helps identify creatively gifted students, informs curriculum design, and designs differentiated instruction so that students with high creative potential are nurtured. In organizational and industrial psychology, it has been applied in leadership development, recruitment for creative roles, and innovation workshops where companies seek to harness employee creativity. In clinical and counseling psychology, it forms part of assessments to evaluate cognitive flexibility and divergent thinking in different populations, including individuals recovering from trauma or neurological disorders. In psychological and educational research, it is frequently employed to examine the impact of interventions, environments, or teaching practices on creativity development. Several features distinguish the Torrance test from other creativity assessments. It is standardized and norm-referenced, meaning it follows a rigorous structure with established norms suitable for large-scale use. It has broad applicability and can be administered to individuals ranging from early childhood to adulthood across diverse cultural settings. It also provides multidimensional analysis, unlike simple creativity checklists giving in-depth insights into different aspects of thinking. Finally, its predictive validity or its ability to forecast long-term creative success makes it a tool of great practical significance. Let's see its criticism and limitations. Despite its strengths, the TTCT is not free from criticism. Some argue that it carries cultural and contextual bias, as certain test prompts or expectations may be more accessible to participants from specific socio-economic or cultural backgrounds. Others note that it focuses narrowly on divergent thinking and does not fully capture other dimensions of creativity, such as convergent thinking, intuition, emotional intelligence, or domain-specific expertise. Subjectivity in scoring also possesses challenges, since some dimensions like originality or elaboration depend on the interpretation of trained raters. Now let's see recent developments and future directions. In recent years, efforts have been made to enhance the TTCT's applicability and precision. Digitization has allowed the test to be adapted for online platforms, making administration easier and facilitating automated scoring. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are being explored to improve the efficiency and consistency of scoring while reducing subjectivity. Cross-cultural adaptations are also being developed to ensure inclusivity and fairness in diverse populations. These innovations aim to maintain the TTCT's relevance in today's rapidly changing educational and organizational environments. Coming to the conclusion, the Torrance tests of creative thinking remain a cornerstone in the field of creativity assessment. With their strong theoretical foundation, wide-ranging applications and demonstrated predictive power, they have contributed significantly to our understanding of how creativity functions and how it can be nurtured across the lifespan. Though the test is not without its limitations, it continues to be a trusted and influential tool in education, psychology, and organizational development. As the world becomes increasingly complex and innovation driven, the ability to measure and cultivate creativity is more vital than ever. Tools like TTCT will remain central to this mission, guiding educators, psychologists, and leaders in identifying and fostering the creative potential within every individual. Thank you for joining me in this session. I hope this detailed exploration of Torrance tests of creative thinking has given you deeper insight into not only how creativity can be measured, but also why it matters so much in today's world. Remember, creativity is not the privilege of a few, but a universal human trait that can be developed, nurtured, and celebrated. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep creating, for these are the true paths to growth and innovation. Take care. Thank you.